recover out loud, you start to understand that your pain has value.
For sure.
Right? Our pain isn't meant for other people to understand. Our pain, I believe, is meant for us to understand what caused it, what I do to make it worse. When I share my pain with you, I see the value in it because I start to realize my pain was never meant for me.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
I'm at Shane Earn, baby.
Hell
Bash
yeah.
Brothers.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
And remember, new episodes dropping every Tuesday and Friday. Check them out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
Whoa,
Oh, whoa, hey.
Emily was like this. We're live.
3, 2, 1.
Talk about pro fucking active. Holy smokes.
Welcome back, Mike Fiore, to the Hopeaholics
It's
Podcast.
been a year, 10 months.
Yeah.
Been basically a year.
He was basically a rookie.
It actually doesn't really count because your girl wasn't here, and
It was the old logo.
out with the old, in with the new,
Oh,
and we had to have him back. I mean, the man spits fire. Anybody
Fire.
that tunes into our Recover Out Loud meeting,
Yeah.
I was upset that I wasn't there because it was truly
Yeah.
amazing,
Inspirational.
very much so.
Really
Thank you.
incredible.
And it's
Yeah.
hard. I feel like it's very difficult to, I feel anytime any individual that's in recovery that gets asked to lead, it's nerve-wracking in general, but then it's hard to kind of tell your story in a way that's not a drunk-a-log. I feel like a lot of people fall into that a little bit, where yours was so solution-based and inspirational, which I loved.
Which leads
Thank
me
you.
to my first question. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, before your question,
Yeah.
it was the first and only time that we've never stopped the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you didn't know it was happening. I was reading the comments
I was in the chat.
on the chat on the Zoom meeting. You were looking over here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never looked over there.
No.
So they were saying, let him
going
keep
crazy.
going.
Yeah.
They're going
So
nuts.
the
Dope.
fucking clock guy turned off the clock.
Yeah.
That's why you
Shout
never.
out to Joel.
Yeah, shout out Joel.
Yeah, thanks, Joel.
Yeah.
That's why you never heard anything in your ears to tell. Because remember, I said you'll hear a timer in your headphone when it's time to wrap up. They turned it off.
Mm-hmm.
You went 45 minutes.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
speaking. I'm like, I had to hit the 25 by now, but you know what? I'm going to just keep going.
Yeah.
But you
It
were
was
on.
awesome.
It
It
was
was
good because you were on such a flow where clearly God was speaking through you. Because sometimes when someone is leading, say like a 20-minute lead, it kind of, you can tell when it's about to be done. There was not that with your lead whatsoever. It was just very much everybody, because I was in the chat, so it was really cool because everyone was just so, they needed the message.
Yeah.
So obviously God was speaking through you.
People are thirsty
sure.
for hunger. They're thirsty for knowledge right now.
You sound so fucking Canadian right there,
You
dude.
did.
Like, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Like, that was like, people are thirsty for knowledge, eh? Like, what?
Like it,
That was my thing.
yeah, it was great.
Damn,
but
alright.
you know what? I want to dive deep back, pull back some layers into.
Okay.
Listen, I going first question?
No.
See, this is what I'm dealing
Yeah,
with. Bro.
this
See,
is what
this
happens.
is
This is why-
this is typical. I say I'm going first question. I even said before the podcast started, says I want to dig down deep, and then I said it like a
Yeah,
minute
but
ago, and now
the
all of a
chase.
sudden she
People
forgets
wanna
and
hear
she
it.
takes. I was like, go ahead, dear.
Yeah, because you're going off and you're Canadian.
Go ahead.
Alright.
Go ahead.
I don't know where you were going.
Go ahead.
So I'm on it's about him, not
Do it.
you.
Do it up.
Where were you born?
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. Brothers, sisters?
I have 2 brothers and a sister. My father and mother met. My father was a hairstylist. When he met my mother already had my older brother and sister. My younger brother and I share the same mother and father.
Okay.
2 steps.
Half. We share,
halves, two halves,
share the
two
same
halves.
mother.
halves.
My father raised them, so they call my father dad. When he passed away, it was their father passed away.
Now, is addiction in your does it run in your family, or are you like Chad, the solo? And
No, both my parents unfortunately passed away from AIDS, from heroin use.
Oh, wow.
Two grandmothers, alcoholism, a grandfather, heroin, uncle, heroin.
So it's in your blood.
Yeah,
Like,
generational.
yep.
Yeah.
Damn. And siblings?
Siblings didn't dabble the way I did or get into it the way I did. No.
And what made you all of a sudden full blown dive into your addiction? Like, were you out of the womb an addict? Have you always had kind of alcoholic addict tendencies, or did it start later in life? Like, where did it really start to pop off and start causing problems in your life?
I believe it's when first time I got attention. I think my addiction is attention. I don't think we're addicts because we use drugs. We use drugs because we're addicts. It's not the dependency that I believe makes us an addict. It's what we're trying to fill with that. So mine was attention because my parents were also on methadone. You know, they could sleep a lot.
Yeah.
They weren't present as much as I felt I needed them to be. So they weren't at baseball games, football games, nothing like that. So once I got attention from people and I enjoyed it, that became my drug. So now I conformed and became whatever it was everybody liked in order to be able to be friends with everybody.
You know what I'm wondering, because you brought that up, and he said generational drug addiction. But when I crack down or break down drug addiction, I'm looking at anxiety, depression, mental health issues, lack of God. So really, when you say it was generational drug addiction, it was actually generational, let's call it mental health issues or lack of
I think it's
spiritual connection.
Or lack
I
of a
think it's
spiritual
gene,
connection.
though, because like I never got to meet my grandfather because he died
Well,
of cirrhosis of the liver, and so I feel like it's
yeah, but
it's
that can be
deeper.
controlled. Oh, let's not call it controlled. That could be manifested in his way of living now. Even if you have the gene, he has the gene as well, and yet look at him.
I think if we even go back to like Adam and Eve, everything gets passed down.
Yeah.
Sin got passed down, passed down, passed down. So I do believe that the trauma of our ancestors we live with and we don't even know.
I agree.
Well,
I
that's
agree.
why I
So
think
it's mental health 100%.
I agree with what you're saying, because it's funny, because I took a course. It was a 4-day course, and we had to stay someplace. And they brought in my Indian heritage, tribal heritage. They said, you're missing part of your ancestors. You haven't related to them enough.
That's good.
Or understood that. So it's funny you're saying that.
That's good. I like
Because
that.
they made me do a war dance, like for my finale. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
So I did a war dance in front of like 30, 40 people to bring back my heritage. So I'm understanding what you're saying. She's lost, or she doesn't
I
understand.
think it's a.
What?
I don't think it's like black and white, I guess, because
No.
it's very much where I do think in some situations and in some instances it is. I mean, we've had this conversation and I asked this question: is it genetic or is it
Environmental.
Right,
you know, where I think it's a common.
Sounds to me like Mike was batting 100 right out the gate.
Yeah.
Environmental
Yeah.
issues, and it was flowing all through your genes already.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people could have the addict gene, never pick up, and be okay. Like, you know, but still have the disease of addiction, but they've never actually used the substance.
And I don't think we'll ever know that, because then if they never use the substance, then they wouldn't know.
Well,
if
you
they're
know it through the
full-blown.
behaviors.
You know what I mean?
So I think we're all addicted to something. I think addiction is the most common human behavior there is. And if people could say different, every time you think about using this
Sure.
phone, put it down for 24 hours and tell me
sure.
what your mood is like.
Right.
Boom.
So I think we're all addicted to something. It's just, you know, like some are worse than others. So for me, I don't actually classify the dependency like you said and you said. I'm more about the behaviors and the mental health,
Yeah.
because I believe it's a mental illness, just like the flu. I'm physically sick, right? So I have no physical strength. My mental health is determined in the way I think, feel, and behave. The drug allows me to be sick mentally, but with proper treatment and proper counseling, I do believe the illness can be removed and we can live a sustainable, fulfilled life.
I agree with that.
Because here's the thing: if you pray 3 to 5 times a day, you could hypothetically say you have an addiction to praying. I mean,
Yeah.
even though but like you said, it's a good thing. It's making positive strides in your life.
Yeah, look at someone that gets in recovery. You know,
Yeah.
like we get addicted to me, addiction is a mindset, lifestyle, and a way of living. I need all three of those to be a successful addict, right?
Yeah.
Same thing in recovery. It's a mindset, lifestyle, way of living in
Mind,
order
body,
to be.
spirit.
That's it, you know? So like it for me, I think for me, addiction and recovery is very similar as far as the characteristics and the skills that are needed to succeed in both. They're all transferable skills. It's the mindset that changes the way we use the skill. Grit, determination, motivation, critical thinking, planning, sacrifices, compromises, perseverance. All of that is needed for me to be an addict. Every single one of those
100%.
traits, they're all transferable. So one of the things I like to educate is that it's not the behavior or any of that needs to change. It's the mindset, because the mindset is going to dictate the way we move and operate.
Yes. With the same verbiage.
Yeah. Same characteristics, spiritual
just-
foundation.
Yes.
Without a spiritual foundation, my choices reflect it, right? When I'm spiritually bankrupt, look at the choices we can make in active addiction. Then I get in recovery and I can't even throw garbage out on the street because my soul feels convicted because I'm more spiritually
So true.
fit. So once we get more spiritually fit, the choices are easier to make. So everyone's like, oh, I can't do drugs for the rest of my life. Don't worry about the drug. The Bible talks about a sober mind, not a sober body. I know a lot of people with a sober body and not a sober mind. You
Amen
could
to that.
sober your mind while your body is still not sober, and your mind will keep your body sober, and you won't even get to the place where the use of the drug or the drink is an option because our mind isn't allowing ourselves to go to a place where the drug or the drink becomes a solution. There's other ways to navigate through it. The mind is everything when it comes to anything, really.
So true. The mind will take you in or take you out.
You know, you guys know, one of the things I like about this guy, he thinks about shit that I don't even think about. Like, how do you guys think about what he just said? But it's fucking so on point.
So on point. Yes. No.
It's
No.
good. You got some you carry around diamonds,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
And you toss those out daily.
Yeah, that's really
you know?
nice. It's
I hope
refreshing.
that every day you're feeling you refill your little bag of diamonds that you give out
called
to
the Bible.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
called the
sir.
Bible.
Yes, sir.
It's called his bad habits that he used to have. Now he's incorporated
Right.
good habits to feed
Right.
his mind.
Yeah.
For him to able to have those diamonds in
Yes.
his bag.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah.
But I want to know, when did your addiction take off in the negative form?
In the negative form, when it became an addiction
Yeah.
where it ran my life.
Yes.
Right. When my father passed away, I was about 24. I was like in and out. When he passed away, there was like a real disconnect with him. And then my uncle had told me a story about my grandfather, who was also an addict, and how my father went off the reservation when my grandfather died. When my father passed away, I thought maybe if I followed in those footsteps, I'd feel him more. He met my mother with a kid. I met a girl with a kid, right? I started to follow in his footsteps because it helped me get some kind of closure because I didn't get any closure because I was high when he flatlined at the hospital. I was high at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I didn't get closure. So me walking that was kind of an excuse for me not to take responsibility for my life because I'm trying to get closer to my father rather than better my life from his mistakes and make my father proud.
That makes sense. And you were 24?
Yeah.
And how long were you out?
About 38. That's 24 is when it became my life.
Right.
I was already using from like 16. Sports kept me out of it till about 21. And then after 21, I just started. But when it's addiction, where it was my life, was when my father passed
And your
away.
drugs of choice?
Everything, pretty much everything. I just never shot up because I got to witness what HIV and AIDS does to the human body. When my mother passed away, when I was in treatment, she had no muscle mass. The woman beat 3 cancers while having it, interferon, Hep C. I don't know how the woman did it, but she held on just to see me at least get off the methadone. And then 3 weeks later, she passed away.
Wow.
Methadone's no joke.
12 years, 120 milligrams. Definitely
Damn.
no joke.
Not a good time, huh?
No, not a good time. But listen, it was a good resource if anyone knows a methadone clinic, right? You could go get everything you want there at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So it was a good resource because I got on methadone just to not get withdrawal. So a lot of the harm reduction works, but we also got to know a lot of us aren't walking into it with the proper mindset, right? So methadone was just a crutch for me for 12 years. That's why I never succeeded at using it properly, because I went in again with the wrong mindset.
I YouTubed methadone and how to detox. It is a 6 to 9 month protocol, but apparently if you follow the directions, just like if you do an AA, it works like a charm.
Yeah. It took me 6 months to taper off 120 milligrams at a facility in New York City, because there was no way I was doing it by going to the clinic every day. There's no way that's going to happen. But they do a blind detox. So basically, you go to the window for your methadone every day to mix it with placebo, and they don't tell you your dose, even if you ask. And then when you get your last dose, because it was mixed with placebo, for 2 weeks, all you were getting was placebo.
To see what that tells me, look at the mind.
Yes, and then my withdrawal started. After but they were like, listen, you've been off for 2 weeks already. And that's how powerful the mind is.
Right?
Great.
I'll show you how powerful focus is. Ever have somebody staring at you from behind, but you feel it and you turn around? So you were able to feel somebody looking at you. Feel somebody looking at you without actually seeing them. So what do you think happens when we focus on negativity? We actually create the negativity in our lives by focusing on it, because what you focus on, you attract. I focused on you so much, it made you turn around and look at me.
Yeah.
That's how strong focus is. So the question is,
you're
what
like-
are you
and then
focusing
you're
on
like,
today?
Creep. You know what I mean?
No,
Like for real.
It's funny. I was just thinking I did that to a few girls in my day. What were they? You know, I'm joking.
No, but that is.
Turn around, quick, turn around.
One of those things where it's your mind is everything.
Everything.
What are you feeding it?
Yeah.
What are you telling it?
What are you? And you know, I feel like it was you, Mike. Maybe on Saturday, or it was somebody else. But not only I didn't really realize this until it was just said to me. But it's not just what you're feeding your mind through your ears, man. It's feeding what you're feeding it with your eyes. You know, what we look at on a daily basis. What are we looking at on our phones? Like, you know, do I really want somebody going through my history on my phone?
Yeah.
Do I? I'm pretty okay with it. But does that do you, you know, do you, not you, but you, you know what I mean? And what are we feeding our mind through what we look at on a daily basis?
What you're reading.
What you're
Sensual
reading.
desires is one of the 5 hindrances of life. Sensual desires is the gratification of the senses. We should be questioning why I look at this logo and I like it so much, rather than just feel that I like it so much. Because there might be the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So there might be something in there that's actually I'm enjoying through a lustful way and not through an enjoyable way. So we should question why we like something, how it tastes, and why we like what something sounds like. We should really be diving into where is the root cause of what I'm enjoying, because it could go in either direction.
Yeah. I love that.
So you were running and gunning in Brooklyn, New York for
5 boroughs, yes, put it on fire for 20 years. Thank God for the people that paid their taxes for allowing me to go to 30 treatment facilities. So I appreciate you guys.
Wait, did you say 30?
30, yeah.
Wow.
Think
Where I got my education.
definitely
I
got
got my education.
definitely
I got,
got
my
me
GED
You're
in
beat.
jail.
certified.
Yes.
definitely got me beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
He's got everyone beat.
But I'm up there. Probably
you're up to-
18, 19.
yeah, but 30 is 30.
30 is 30. I know. I haven't even hit 20. So.
Yeah, 30
And I was good at faking it till you make it. So
Yeah.
I was an ideal client, always took notes. I realized my whole education as far as curriculum goes in this field came from going to treatment.
Wow, where'd you find God?
Where'd I find God?
Yeah.
I want to say when my mother passed away, but I found God. The man was 72 years old. He was at the treatment facility I was at, and there was like 200 people, and it's a madhouse in New York City, right? And he had such a sense of peace. And I sat down next to him, and I asked him what it was, and of course he gave me the Jesus Christ, and I'm like, again with this Jesus Christ. And he asked me to just start reading Proverbs every day. And then I find God every day now.
Nice.
And
Or God finds you, actually.
he's been with me. He
God's
doesn't
finding-
need to
Never
find me,
You're
because
right,
he knows
you're
it's like
right,
Adam
you're right.
trying to hide from him in the
That's
garden.
kind of what I meant. God's
Okay.
finding you every day.
Yes.
God's
yes.
always there. It's
Yes,
whether or
he's-
not we're gonna.
Yeah.
You know,
He's like,
say
with me.
hello.
Adam,
Yeah, where
I
are
see you.
Same thing with
Why-
Cain and
why-
Abel. Where's your brother? Am I
Yeah.
my brother's keeper? You know, like smart ass remark
Yeah.
to God. Imagine that. I've done it. So I mean,
Of
I,
course. So then-
True.
So at 38 is when finally
Basically.
you woke up.
yeah, when I was in treatment, 30.
What made that 30th time? Like, okay, this time is going to be the time?
Mindset. I went into treatment as an opportunity to get my life better rather than a result of my behavior.
So you just came to a point where finally you were sick and tired of basically doing the same shit.
The sick and tired thing, I get it. If I really was sick and tired, I think I would have stopped. I think I actually enjoyed it, and sick and tired was a manipulation I told myself to allow myself to think I really do want to stop, when in reality, I didn't. But it was just something changed, and it's supernatural. So some of these questions, I would love to come up with my own answer and be able to sound this intelligent person, but at the end of the day, it was God.
Yeah.
Love that though. I think that's the only reason why I'm clean and sober, is because of God. Every time I've tried to go back out and use, and he's like, no, I'm gonna make your life so fucking miserable and so fucking unmanageable that your only option is to detox at this fucking facility in Santa Ana where they lock you up, that good one. So the treatment centers in New York are different than the treatment centers here in California.
Oh, yes.
Right?
This is the Riviera. They're behavior modification programs. They're not treatment facilities. So they're breaking you down to build you back up. You're walking around with signs. You're sit in the corner and stare at the wall if you make a mistake. Sweep the sun off the roof. That means you're sweeping the roof until the sun comes down.
Totally.
It's different.
There's no private facilities like
There probably is, but for someone on Medicaid, you ain't getting that.
Right.
So.
Right. How long were you in treatment for?
The last time was a little over a year.
Okay.
After I got off the methadone, I had another 6 months of working on myself and setting things up for life after. And then, so I stood there about a year. You could stay up to 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's actually fantastic.
Yeah, and work, save your money, pay no rent because you're on public assistance, and Medicaid's paying everything else. So they let you could leave. I've seen people leave with $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah.
But then be back a month later, though.
because they spend it all. Fucking got loaded.
You can acquire all you want, but if we're not building the character to actually keep what we acquire, what's the point of even getting it?
Sure.
So how'd you get out? How'd you get out here to California?
So California, I had a friend of mine knew me on Instagram, came out to New York City to celebrate something. She reached out to me, can you show me around? I showed her around. She winds up starting this app called the Sober app, and it was like, can you come out here and, help us drop the app? I was in treatment, maybe like 45 days off the methadone. I got flown to Indiana. I spoke at 10 treatment facilities in Indiana, and then from Indiana flew to Cali to meet them, the app. I wanted to stay out here, so I called my mentor, and he's like, you better get your ass back to New York and finish treatment like you told your mother, right? So I went back to treatment, but while I was in New York, I was setting up life in California. I don't know if you guys had Jackson from Stay Stopped on here.
Yeah.
That's my brother. Jackson got me involved with the sober circuit and recovery thing. So I'd set up a microphone and speaker and speak until they told me to stop, and then they stopped telling me to stop, and they started asking me to go to other places. Nice. And that's how this started.
That's amazing. So then how long have you been in California?
May 10th will be 2 years from when I graduated treatment. I moved out here the day I graduated treatment. I had a ticket, and I already had my clothes out here, and I flew out. I didn't even go back to my neighborhood. My parents are gone, grandparents are gone. Relationship with siblings, as you can imagine, is a little tarnished with 20 years of active addiction. And they have lives and families, so it was an easy transition to move across the country.
Has it gotten any better with your siblings?
My older brother I got to see because he's in Denver, so I travel a lot, so I got to see him. My sister and I is getting it. My younger brother's going to take some work because I was popular and good at sports. It was cool to be my younger brother. Then he became the younger brother of a junkie. And he had to answer for a lot of the things I was doing, so I kind of took his identity away from him. And now that he's a grown man and I'm doing what I'm doing, I still think there might be some anger because now, look, Michael gets to go do this after I had it, so I'm slowly but shortly, holidays, birthday, how you doing, a little text here and there, and gotta do it.
Totally. Time when it's
Hey, this is nice getting to know Mike,
Well,
huh?
I'll tell you what's nice. Nice is God gives certain people certain talents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we definitely know Mike's talent.
Yeah, Mike has a talent, and he works on his talent on a daily fucking basis by reading scripture and reading the Bible and doing good stuff. So he's feeding his talent on a daily bloody basis, which is going to keep him strong and make him even stronger on a daily basis. I just love that stuff, bro. I love being a part of it. I love being in the same room as that. of people that do that. I love being in the same room.
Me too.
You're the same type. So is Chad.
Well, I just think
this
what
is who
is
we
so
are.
Interesting to me is maybe just because I'm married to someone like polar opposite of myself. Thank the Lord. We can only have one crazy, and he's like super just a normie, like logical, doesn't think the way that we think. You know, our first thought is usually definitely wrong.
Steal that
And-
car.
Yeah, exactly. And what I think is so interesting, and even my husband believes it, is, and he's a man of God, so that's what it really attracted to me in the first place. But what we do on like a daily basis in the sense of maintaining our recovery, even though depending on doesn't matter what program, but it's also very similar to a lot of degree, that people that are suffering with like depression, anxiety, etc., that maybe aren't addicts or alcoholics could totally benefit by doing and implementing these practices that we do on a daily basis, because if we don't, then we either die or end up in an institution or behind bars. So like it's very interesting to me because it's not so black and white in the sense of like addict, alcoholic, oh God, poor guy. It's like, no, we're lucky. We're the lucky ones because we actually found a way to live a better, more fulfilled life. And if you take some of these suggestions that we do, you might feel a little bit better too. You know, and I think that's interesting because for the longest time growing up, you know, you didn't really hear too much about addiction, or it wasn't it was almost like taboo. Like people didn't really want to talk about it, and we didn't have the internet, we didn't have podcasts like this to our that you easily could tune into and listen to. You just kind of felt alone and lost. So now it's one of those things where, like, especially I feel like in the world that we live in today, there's a lot of people that are in pain that aren't addicts or alcoholics, and they're searching for something, and that something is implementing these like daily habits that I don't really think, at least for myself, I never really want to do half the things that I have to do. But I do like the benefit of them, so I bitch and complain and get them done, and then all of a sudden I feel better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. And it's interesting where a normie can implement that too, and all of a sudden not feel so alone, or not feel so depressed, or not have so much anxiety, or whatever else is going on, you know?
I do know.
What do you do on a daily basis to maintain your sobriety?
Simple program for complicated world. Wake up, pray, read the Bible, tell myself what I'm going to try to continue to do today, and then process at the end of the day. I realize it's more important how you wake up and how you fall asleep than what actually transpires throughout the day. So waking up is preparing myself with the armor. If I have time, I jog. At the end of the day, I like to process, which is very important. I did this well. I want to do more of it. I could get better at this. Not that I did bad at this, right? Self-talk is the program we install into our computer, which is the brain. So I'm very, very conscious of the words I use when I speak to myself about learning a lesson or a mistake. God showed me a lot of grace, so he's gave me a good example of how to show myself grace. Not a free pass, grace. So simple, because ordinary creates extraordinary. If extraordinary created extraordinary, it would just be ordinary. So we want to be that ordinary that creates extraordinary by having a simple plan for a complicated world. Don't make your recovery walk or spiritual walk so complicated. The world's already complicated. Make it simple so opposites could actually live in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. I love the extraordinary thing because I posted one time that extraordinary people are just ordinary people that do a little extra.
That's it.
Just a little extra.
Yep.
Like, you want to be extraordinary? Do a little bit more than ordinary people. That's all you have to do. And all of a sudden, shabam.
Yep.
You know, we all have the potential to be extraordinary. Every single one of us. And that's one of the things that I like, because when you speak and you speak in public, and I would even push you past, because you motivate people, but you do more than that. You're more of a transformational speaker.
I agree.
Like, you help people because motivation comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
You could get me excited for the next hour, and then I'm like hungry, and then I'm like, I forgot, and I'm like, fuck
I'm
this.
hungry.
You know what I mean? Like, and then I've forgotten about how excited I was for what you said. But you teach people, because I think motivational people are hype, just all hype. Transformational people get you hyped, but also teach you how to change your mindset.
I was going to pick up the book.
No, I think it's continuing your
You know what I'm saying?
about what you just said. You walk away thinking, asking yourself certain questions.
Yep.
And that's what I think is so powerful, is because usually if you hear someone talk, that's great. And obviously if somebody has charisma like yourself, that's even better. That's icing on the cake, because it gets you to actually tune in and listen. But what makes the change is people walking away and continuing that conversation.
Yeah.
And then possibly maybe a shift starts to happen where all of a sudden maybe they hit their knees in the morning and start praying, like, hey, maybe I'm going to do this. Or they pick up the Bible and they start, hey, what is this about? And I think that's what's powerful, and that's what makes people that are able to speak, or at least that I want to listen to, I want to ask myself those questions, because like Chad was saying, is motivation. Man, I wish that I was motivated every single day, because it comes and it goes. It depends on how I'm feeling, because your feelings are fleeting. They come and they go depending on, what did I eat today? Is my sugar level making a difference in the way that I'm feeling? Or is this my drink? You know what I'm saying? So it's like those types of speakers, I really feel like they have that specialty, because that's what is going to make a change in the world, making people really stop and ask themselves those difficult questions that they might not have asked themselves prior, because they get to hear your testimony, or they get to hear your story, or they see the differences that you've made in your life, or that you continue making on a daily basis. And I think that's what's
It's God. He's preaching basically always about God in some kind of subliminal way. Like your whole essence is about Jesus Christ.
Amen.
From beginning right to the end. It's just the word Jesus isn't used in a scary way.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like I'm forcing it. Jesus
Exactly.
didn't force himself on it. So it's not like I don't want to give people motivation. Motivation, like you're saying, is short-lived. It's instant gratification.
Yeah.
It comes, it goes. Motivation is you can, you will. Like, right? I want to give people determination. I want people to be able to say, I can, I will. When you're determined, that means you have a vision of something.
Sure.
Like I was determined for the drugs. I wasn't motivated for the drugs. Because when you're determined for something, the work is never an issue. It's what I'm striving for. The drugs gives us motivation. So if you're looking for motivation in your life and you can't find it, you actually demotivate yourself. So I want to get people determined. I can, I will. Allow them to start to develop like a vision, because determination is a low vibration that's sustainable. Motivation, because we're addicts, we're waiting for motivation because it's instant gratification. New job, new boyfriend, new girlfriend, but then it stays away. I want to get people determined. I want to be able to put a vision that they create in their head by the words that God has me use to have you transform your mind. Do not conform the patterns of the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So it's this that we keep being told we need to fix, not the symptoms or the causes of this. We need to work on that.
Yeah. You want to teach them to fish,
Yeah?
basically.
Then they can feed themselves the rest of their
bro.
life.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And then you people tend to want to flock to you more, because people remember how you make them feel more than what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I remember how people made me feel more than things. So I want to leave, inspired to inspire. The reason I call it as, I think we all have the opportunity to inspire somebody on their journey. And what that inspiration comes from is from our testimonies. Our testimonies is proof of God's existence. And then I get to be a witness of his grace. People are like, what's my purpose? Your story and becoming the true authentic self is your purpose, because then you become a value. Einstein has a great quote: don't strive for success, become a value. When you become a value to the world, now there's a demand for you. When there's a demand for you, now the success comes.
That's all
We're
my
going
culture
about
is.
things in the wrong direction.
That's all my culture is. All my culture is build value so you're needed in this world.
That's
so,
it.
So you're not destroyed. That's how I was brought up. Yeah, I love that.
And you're doing a great job of
thank
it.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But I just love the way your message is all encompassing with God. And we all know that if you get someone to actually pray, or pray in their own way 2, 3, 4, 5 times, they're going to feel that miracle.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to feel that change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're bringing to people.
Yeah. Delight yourself in the Lord. He will give you the desires of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that if I love God, I'm going to get the Lamborghini. No, it means that if you love God, you're not going to want the Lamborghini.
Nice.
No
There
more.
we go.
You're going to want the things that's on your heart. Like, for instance, some of my intentions when I first started this was fame and fortune. Some of it still is. I'm being totally honest. But my true intention on my heart, though, all things work together for good for those who are called to his purpose. God is taking, even though my flesh is still, he knows what's on my heart. So he's like, all right, we're going to work with this right now. We're going to make this work for my glory. And the more I delight myself in him, the more it's less about fame and fortune. It's more about getting to that one person.
I hear what you're saying.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, I have a desire on my heart for a Lamborghini, but I've had the Lamborghini before. I had the Lamborghini. You want to know what happened in that Lamborghini? I got fucking loaded in that Lamborghini, and then you know what happened?
You crashed it?
No, the cops tried to pull me over, and I knew I was in a faster car than they
There
were,
you go.
so I punched it.
Yeah.
They turned on the lights. I thought the light meant let's race. I won. I got to the finish line first, but they got there right behind me with guns blazing.
Well said. Well said.
Ugly.
These are
Real
facts, though,
ugly.
you know, and I don't necessarily have a desire for that anymore. Would I drive one? Sure, I would. I would if I had if it were. If it's part of the opportunity, then fine. Not a big deal to me, though, either way. I don't like the flashy stuff that people do on the internet anymore. Like, I really don't. Who cares what fucking kind of watch you wear? Who cares what fucking shoes you wear? I wear Vans, and they're fucking custom made because they're pink to match fucking Pinky over here in our logo. But I'm with you, man. But I have a desire on my heart to reach 300 million people. Like, that is my desire. And to talk about this fentanyl crisis, because it's killing people. 300 people every single day, right? That's fucked up, dude.
Yep.
And I'm tired of saying an airplane going down because now I'm hearing politicians saying it. Not that I think they got it from me. They probably got it from Mike Fiore. But, like, I'm done. Like, it is a jumbo jet.
Yeah.
Crashing every single day, and they're doing fucking nothing.
And some information I got from the congressional hearing. So we have the China Select Committee, right? So they did an investigation, and some of the information that they found is very alarming. The precursors that are made, that are created to make fentanyl, is actually illegal to be sold in China, but they're allowed to manufacture it in China. The Chinese government subsidizes those chemicals and then gives incentives to those companies to sell it to countries outside China. If you're caught with it in China, you get the death penalty. There was 0 fentanyl-related deaths in 2020.
0.
And I'm so glad that this information came out. For so long, I walked with the families infected by fentanyl poisoning. For so long, people were like, oh, they're just grieving parents. They just want to, blame it. No. It's official. Like, you could, who was it? The Attorney General Barr testified. Ray Donovan, the former, DEA ops, did. They had real people there that were testifying. Like, this is a real thing. It's a war. It's not an epidemic. It's not a pandemic. This is a weapon of mass destruction. Like, we're being exterminated. Like, a whole generation is just being wiped out, and everybody's waking up and going to work and loving their life and not making sure that what their school is doing about awareness, not going to their legislation and what do you have in place. No, but when the problem becomes their problem, now they're wondering why there wasn't a solution.
Right.
The solution is the awareness. The solution is to get to know the facts and share it with people. The solution is not ignorance. And we don't have a problem if we don't say we have a problem. We don't need Narcan because we don't have a problem. Till a kid dies.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell those them parents?
Exactly.
The only thing you can say is, I'm so sorry. Right? I mean, we say it all the time. You can look through our fucking DMs, our hundreds of parents, thousands probably, who have lost their children. Follow the
There's
Hopeaholics.
hundreds of thousands of families that have lost.
But
just you guys
just
alone, and I know the
alone.
life. I hear death and come across my phone. My partner, Andrea Thomas, executive director at Facing Fentanyl and Voices for Awareness. Like, it's just all day long.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things that, like, you have stayed with it, just like us. and it's admirable to have watched you from when we first met until now. I mean, just everything. You've grown, we've grown.
Yep.
You've really honed in your speaking, and man, I can't wait to see what's next. What is next for Mike Fiore?
I wanted to ask, like, when you created and started Inspire to Inspire.
I was in treatment, no money, no education. I asked myself, what do I know? I know about drugs. So originally it was going to be addict for addicts. And then I was like, no, that's too, like, just one audience of people. So then it came Inspire to Inspire. Like, I want people to be inspired by other people's stories and then inspired. So it came just as an idea, as a nonprofit, never knowing, like, it was going to turn into what it's turning into. But, yeah, God knew, though. Yeah.
No, for sure. And how long have you been doing that?
So Inspire to Inspire, I started like 3 years ago. Okay. And then I relapsed, and I was making this recovering out loud thing I've been doing for about 3 years. So when I started Inspire to Inspire, I was doing well. And then I started making videos while being high, telling people how to stay sober, like sniffing lines of, you go back on my feed, I left them, they're there. Yeah. I would sniff lines of coke and then make a video, or tripping on ecstasy and make a video. And my videos are hitting. And I'm getting messages like, you're changing my life. And now I'm really starting to feel it, right? Sure. So the darkness starts creeping in. And then I went dark. I went off the internet, everything, for about 2 months, and gave up on the stream. I gave up on becoming this person. And then my mother started to really deteriorate and went back into treatment. And then I got a call from some girl in Louisiana. And she's like, where have you been? I miss your videos. You need to come back. The next day I made a video letting everybody know everything. And then took everyone through my methadone detox. While I was in treatment every day, I filmed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart. That is wild.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be right there making videos with you.
Thank God. Like I was already kind of, last time I relapsed, I was a treatment owner, so I couldn't be making fucking videos.
Yeah.
Like, no, it would not have been a good look. You know what I mean? Could you imagine, Shane?
Plan.
Like fucking Chad working for the CIA?
Not on shooting meth. Oh, come on. It's a whole different it's a whole different thing. Shooting meth. Hey, everybody.
It would have been.
I'm Chad from the CIA, and I just want to say a few things to you.
One thing for sure.
But working for the government.
That's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for that shit really didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Me too.
I'd be in jail for surezies.
It would just be a lot more mess to try to clean up and fix. And I'm very happy that I did not
make videos.
Yeah. Or like my last relapse was right before.
Right before?
I got WWE, thank God. Or else, fuck. That would just be not good.
What was your one time, and I'm sure you've had a few, where you looked in the mirror and you said, oh, fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think I have one of those every day. I guess the first one, when I was in the dressing room with Dr. Phil.
Okay, nice. That was recent. That was 6 months ago.
No, that was a while. That was a few months before I met you guys.
Oh, okay.
They filmed it.
Okay.
I remember sitting in that dressing room. My name was on the door, and I got all this special treatment. I'm sitting there, and I'm like maybe 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, bro, like, you're doing it.
Yeah.
I remember looking in the mirror. I remember crying because my parents. All my success is bittersweet because my parents never got to see this version of their son.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm always, dealing with that, and which is a blessing because my ego doesn't get to take control. Because I start to be sad, but I remember being in and then I remember them coming in and them telling me like, Dr. Phil doesn't like to be corrected. I'm like, well, he could, don't say something while I'm going to correct you. But then they also, my message is always the recovery community as a solution. They're like, well, you're really not here to talk about that. You're here to talk about your drug dealing days. So I'm like, all right, call me a kid from New York. We'll play politics. So I put my message in it anyway, but intertwined it so closely with answering their questions about drug dealing that either you're going to keep the whole skit or you're going to take the whole thing out. They wound up keeping the whole thing, and it was a great moment for people like us to see like, yo, we could make it. So that was my moment.
Nice, good for you, bro.
Yeah, it's
huge,
incredible.
Yeah.
When did you start doing your Saturday meetings in Huntington?
So Recovering Out Loud, I want to say started maybe like a little over a month ago. A friend of mine, it was his idea, vision, and asked for me to jump on board, and jumped on board. And now it's just, you said, what's next? I believe what next is this movement. I took this line from Chad and I've been running with it.
Love it.
Recovering Out Loud is not a program. It's a movement. The reason I feel we need to recover out loud, dying in silence, I believe the only way to actually kill the stigmas associated with addiction is to recover out loud just as loud as we were in our active addiction. The time to remain anonymous, I believe, is over. The time of hiding our recovery is over. I'm not saying people that do anonymous that you're doing something wrong. I'm just telling you, you don't have to remain anonymous anymore. We don't have to go in a room. I think it feeds the stigma associated with addiction. The fact that we're telling society, you can't help us or whatever it is, and we need to go in the room and do it alone. Plus, with fentanyl, it changed the whole landscape. Every time I go to these schools, I shout out to Moore Park High School. I just say, these kids came with index cards of questions. Wow. And if you've seen their questions, our stories are needed in schools. These kids need to hear about our mental health and what led us to drugs. Because whatever led us to drugs is the same thing that's leading them to drugs. They're just not dealing with a drug. They're dealing with a poisoning. And then the word overdose is used. And I asked them that. And I'm like, if you hear overdose, what does that sound? Well, that sounds like I got to do a lot of drugs. I was like, exactly. All you really need is 2 milligrams and it kill you. So it's not an overdose because the definition of overdose means the excessive use of drugs. My partner lost her daughter to a half a pill. That's not an excessive use of drugs. By saying overdose, I'm now thinking there's such thing as a safe dose. 1, 2, and I asked the kids, I'm like, when you hear overdose, who do you think of? Be honest. They're like, oh, a drug addict.
Totally.
Definitely. So what 10-year-old kid's going to think they're going to die by picking up a pill off somebody else because all they keep hearing is overdose? It's a straight poisoning because they're getting something that they don't know that they're getting. So it's like anthrax or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's they're putting poison into something. I don't know this fentanyl, and I think it's an Adderall. You were just poisoned. You didn't overdose. So we need to start letting people understand because when people hear it like that, their mindset changes on the problem.
It has to be. We have to start saying that way because even when we had Sheriff Don Barnes on the podcast.
That's my guy. I love
he's
OC
a great
Barnes.
dude.
Yes,
he's a great dude.
He plays no games.
The only thing is, though, is he can't really take that stance because legally there's no law.
Because poisoning means in legal matters intent to kill.
Yeah.
So that's why they can't the sheriffs can't really
publicly
say that.
So the guy that's selling the drugs to me, if you were the drug dealer and you're selling it to me, your intent wasn't to kill me. Your intent wasn't to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But what I was telling him is go back to fucking China. Their intent is to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
The cartels, whether or not their intent, they don't care. They just don't care. For them, it's all about the money. And somebody dying, doesn't matter to them.
They're gonna have to switch it up in the sense of yes, now it will get traced back to the seller and dealer that sold you the fentanyl, and then you will get charged with intent to kill. That's where it how he was saying 8 things need to get incorporated for this big fentanyl to even make a move of some degree. That should be one of them, is where now legal matters are going to be faced with the drug dealers and stuff. So it's not they've got to pass legislation for I'm just talking for the sheriff's department, right? They've got to pass legislation that just like a DUI, you get a DUI. Actually, when you get a driver's license in California, but you get a DUI, you get notified right there. If you get another DUI and you kill somebody, you will be charged. You could be charged with second-degree murder, right?
In the state of California. Now, if you sold me drugs, you got busted, and you had fentanyl, you should be able. And then the sheriffs notify you, and you sign saying, I understand that if I ever get caught selling fentanyl again and somebody dies, I will be I will be charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah, I think Senator Umbar came up with a bill or something like that,
Yeah.
similar. Like the first one's not like a free pass, but the
But
first
kinda,
one is
yeah.
to register. So if it happens again, but it's
It's not enough, but it's something.
not enough. It's
Yeah, but,
something.
that's what I mean,
It's
like,
it's
you have to
movement
do
in a
movement.
direction of trying to find a solution.
Yeah.
But like a lot of us, we don't have time for legislation with a
Right.
lifetime.
I don't.
Takes
We don't.
5 minutes.
forever.
No.
So like you say, like people like us could say the message like they can't, and that's why it's so important that law enforcement, legislation, and the communities work together, because we could do things they can't, they could do things we can't. But if we could work together to be one voice, which you can't say, tell me, I'll say it with no problem.
Sure.
And that's the people we got to continue to bring together. And that's why that's what's cool about this podcast, right? We've been able to bring all these different voices in. Shane just reminded me, but one guy we need to introduce you to is Cooper Noriega's dad, Coop's dad. He's Cooper Noriega was a huge TikTok influencer.
Okay.
Died from one pill in his car in LA, I believe.
Yeah.
They're going through trial right now. His son's dealer is I think there's 3 people
Yeah.
that are charged with murder right
Yeah.
now. They're in custody, no bail. Well, I'll kind of get you some info.
The
on
cartel
that.
member that sold the pill to my partner's daughter got 2 life sentences plus 2 20-year terms. It's one of the biggest ones that happened in the United States to hopefully set the president, because that's what we need to
Yeah,
get the
right.
cartel.
Exactly.
Like, you could lock up all the drug dealers you
totally.
want. It's
Who
like
cares?
firing a cashier at a supermarket.
Yeah.
They're just going to hire
They're
another
the
one.
Indians. They're not the chief.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
need to shut the supermarket down. But
Yeah.
they think by locking addicts up, the regular society it looks like you're doing something to the problem, when in reality, you're not doing any. It's like the COVID vaccine. It's
Yeah.
just something to make people feel like you did something about the problem. You did nothing about the problem.
Did he just say COVID vaccine?
I believe he did.
Did I hit a nerve?
not up here. You didn't.
Yeah, not here, bro.
So
I love what you're saying, the recover out loud, because I mean, I am very grateful that God brought these 2 knuckleheads into my life, because that's what made me want to join everything we're doing here, is because for so long I was like in hiding, because I was so embarrassed that I was in recovery, that I had to go to work a 12-step program, that I had addiction, and I lived this like double life where there is no shame in getting help. It's all about what are you doing on a daily basis to be a better human being, and to be a asset in society, and feel good about yourself, and be a good person, because I know a lot of people that are walking around and they're not good people, because they're lacking something, and that usually is because they're lacking some sort of spirituality, which for me is God. So it's like this podcast got started because of a tragic to Chad's personal life.
Yes.
But in a sense, it's a beautiful thing, because Justin's passing opened the door for me to walk through, and then use my voice and tell my testimony and my story on such a bigger, grander picture.
Yeah.
You
Same
know?
thing happened with my partner. She lost her daughter, opened up the door for her needing a different part to add to the message, because the families were yelling from the rooftops and nobody was hearing them, right? So then bringing me in as someone that's actually lived a life, and with the gift that God's gave me, it opened up the door. Recovering out loud, I think, is so important, because when you recover out loud, you start to understand that your pain has value.
For sure.
Right? Our pain isn't meant for other people to understand. Our pain, I believe, is meant for us to understand what caused it, what I do to make it worse. When I share my pain with you, I see the value in it, because I start to realize my pain was never meant for me. My pain was to help you through your pain. Look at God as a doctor. If I'm sick, the doctor prescribes a medication. Well, that's what God's doing. He's prescribing each other for each other. So once we recover out loud and I see value in my pain, any pain that comes my way from that moment forward is perseverance through my trials and tribulations. I get the crown of life. Without the pain, I don't get to grow. It's like babies that are teething. They're in pain because their teeth are growing in. If your teeth don't grow in, you can't eat the proper food and minerals to actually grow to be an adult. So the pain is always for growth. But when we share it and we see it help somebody, it's like, oh, wait a second. Like, that's what it was for. And then you find your purpose in your pain. And it's like life just has this whole paradigm shift in your perspective, where pain is good and rather than pain is negative. Because positive and negative really doesn't exist. It's on the perception of the person through their lived experience on whatever is going on. Because what's positive today used to be negative. What's negative today used to be positive. What you find positive and negative is so it's not about positive and negative. It's about relationship, right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? It's not about what came first. There's no chicken without the egg. There's no egg without the chicken. There's no success without failure. There's no happiness without sadness. There's no light without dark. If you could see the relationship, opposites attract. When you're going through pain, you could attract joy by learning from your pain and getting wiser rather than wounded.
Lewis, mark that first part. Okay. That was a viral video. That was that first 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's nice.
That was that shit's gonna be stuck in the reels.
Yeah.
That's good shit,
Great
man.
shit.
It's right on there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. We got to do this Recover Out Loud for family members.
Let's go.
They need it bad because I'll tell you something. My mom had the Baptist lady praying for me. She had the Roman Catholic lady praying for me. She had the Greek Orthodox praying for me. Every friend she could talk to, she said, my son is fucked up. His name is Shane. Could you pray for him? She didn't care who it was.
Power and prayer.
Power and prayer, bro.
This is a little Jewish lady.
Yeah, she didn't care. She told everybody that she's having a problem with her kid. Can you please try to help us?
Mothers will go any length to get help
Any
with their
length.
kids. Any length. I'm working with a few right now, and it's just like, wow, I must have put my parents through some shit.
For sure. I think about that all the time.
And think about that. You put your parents through some shit, and your parents had been in the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about the parents that have never been in the shit? Like, fuck.
And I blame my parents, and I feel so bad for the things I've said to them and blame them for my life, and it's your fault and all that kind of stuff. So, like, not being an addict parent and having an addict kid, you blame yourself. But you know what it must be like being an addict parent and then having an addict kid?
Yeah.
You know, so, like, they're both bad. But I agree, recovering out loud for family members. I think recovering out loud is about pain because pain's a universal language.
Yeah, bro.
We would love to be, but everyone's perception of love, there's some people that are in, you know, abusive relationships because they grew up in abusive homes.
Yeah.
So some women think, oh, he loves me because he's slapping me to get it right. So love is all out of whack. Love is patient, love is kind, and love holds no record of sin, according to Corinthians. So to really love yourself, it's not about how you feel about yourself. Truly loving myself is what I do despite how I feel for the betterment of myself. Am I patient with myself? Am I kind with myself? Am I holding myself accountable for the things I did in the sense of that's who I am as a person? Or am I holding myself accountable in the sense of taking responsibility to make it better? Hold no record of sin. Why are we holding record of sin if God's not?
And do you hold record of sin, of your own sin? Because if I hold record, if I hold record, I'm pretty good at forgiving others of their sins. This guy.
I think because we think forgiveness is a feeling. I don't think self-forgiveness is how you feel about yourself. I think self-forgiveness is that day that you decide to go into treatment. Because if you truly weren't beginning to forgive yourself, you wouldn't even be making the choice to go into treatment. I think that we are so caught up on the emotional side of our brain that the logic, like you said, always falls behind. That we think things need to feel a certain way for confirmation that we're doing something. No. The feeling comes after you do the work that's necessary, right? You got to buy into things first, like Amazon, right? I got to buy the product first. I don't get to try to close on. I buy it because Amazon has the track record of delivering. Well, faith and recovery, you have to buy into it first before you're going to get the product of it, right? And it's funny, we don't question our addiction like, you know, all right, getting high is the answer. Then what's the question? What's the question if getting high is your answer? And then we're so crazy and backwards, we question the answer of recovery that has the track record of delivering.
Yeah.
So what are you buying into today? How much are you willing to suffer for what you want? You want to only suffer a little bit? Effort and joy is a direct relationship. Put half-ass effort, you're going to get half-ass success, half-ass joy. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to do the work. Our lives are exactly where they are because we are not putting in the work to make our lives better. We're making it the world's problem.
100%.
Boom.
Preach. My dad says that you get what you put into something.
You reap
And
what
it's
you sow.
100%. It's the same thing. Like if you're going to work out or you want to eat healthy, it's like, okay, well, are you going to the gym? Are you doing it? Are you lifting a weight?
How much of this world is half in, like this country? How much is half in and half fucking out?
Well, you could
and
say the
just
world.
going
You
through
could say
life?
the world.
The
We
world.
live in a fallen world.
Well, let's go 70% obese. Let's go 70% overweight.
Well, I think it's also
Another
too, what you
80%
said,
not going to the gym.
pointing the finger at
know?
like it's the world's problem and not mine.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
taking accountability and having to put in the action.
3 back
And
at
then
you.
My
the
mom always says that.
world is very good. This is why I don't watch television. I haven't watched television over 2.5 years. How many companies would go bankrupt if they stopped making money off our insecurities?
Oh my gosh.
Imagine that they actually said, Shane, you are beautiful exactly where you are. You don't need to work out. You could eat however you want. Enjoy your life. Enjoy the things you want to enjoy. That doesn't sell. If they stopped making money off our insecurities, they would go bankrupt. Now that I know that they want to make money off my insecurities, I need to work on my insecurities and develop a strength through my insecurities so I don't need the $5 million car. So I don't need to live in the house that has 80 bedrooms, but I'm by myself, right? They're making money off our insecurities, right? And that they're very good at making money off our insecurities. So they're not going to tell you you're beautiful. They're not going to tell you that all you need to do is just think differently. They're going to tell you need this program and that program and this and that and have this and have that.
They lie too.
What a
Yes.
crazy
They
fucking world
switch-
we live in. Think
they
about
switch
it.
the goalposts, because then they also flip the script and saying where for a little while, look what happened to Sports Illustrated. I think it went out of business because it was basically giving the okayness to be super obese, and people are dying from diabetes and
Heart failure, you name
exactly,
it, bro.
you name it. And
You
so it's
name
like
it.
switching the goalposts on people, giving them the okay to not care about themselves. You know, where it's like,
I think
Which
people
one?
would care about themselves more if you made them feel comfortable
For
where they're
sure.
at in the moment.
Yeah, but the thing is, this health does look a certain way.
Okay.
Health doesn't look fat.
It doesn't?
It doesn't.
How fat are you saying?
I'm just saying that health doesn't look overweight.
I mean, I know NFL players, right?
They're
400
overweight.
pounds,
They're-
but they'll
that's
beat
not-
me and you in a race. They will lift
yeah, but
more.
That's not health.
Okay.
That's still overweight.
Okay.
They're still overweight.
Why are you looking at me like
But
you're
can
confused?
you be healthy and overweight?
Yes, you can.
Where you're not
You could
made
be
like you're
you could be
being
men-
shamed because you're overweight.
Here's the thing: you could be mentally healthy, but you walk up those 15 flights of stairs, you're not going to feel good.
Okay.
It's not. No, you're not going to feel good. You can't feel good. You're running from something. And they're even talking now. This Ozempic, this diet stuff they're doing. They're saying that people can't eat on it, and rates of suicide are increasing because they're not getting any satisfaction from food anymore. And that food is what's been giving them their comfort. And they don't have other ways to get that comfort.
I need Jesus.
so it go- yeah.
That-
so it
this is
goes
what
back
we're
to the
saying.
mind.
It goes back to
Ozempic
spirituality.
and Jesus, everything, bro,
I
everything does.
I think that the point though that we're really truly trying to drive home, because you can be overweight, you can be and still be healthy, but is your mental health healthy? Right? We got to take it back there. Are you overweight because you're eating
Yes.
Good point.
to mask your feelings?
Thanks for making it simpler for me to understand. Yes.
Now, because there are people that are very happy and very beautiful, and I would never want to because I was a fat kid.
Okay.
Just so you guys know. I was a fat kid. I was shamed. I was bullied. I was made fun of. That's why I got addicted to crystal meth, because when I found it,
a good
I
diet.
didn't want to eat anymore. I went on the Jenny Crank diet.
Yes.
I lost 40 pounds in 2 weeks. And I went from being the chubby kid to and I'm just like you, Mike. All of a sudden, I started getting attention. And I started getting attention from girls. And I was like, it's the meth.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's the fucking meth, man. But my point is that even if somebody is overweight, I don't want to shame them into getting healthy or
and
finding what
Yeah.
works for them. You know, can you live long? I mean, I've seen some of the fittest people in the world die
of a heart attack.
Yeah, it's
you know?
die early.
I agree.
But
It's how you
I'm
pushing
Yeah,
people
and
to
it's
get better.
and it's totally
yes, and I mean, what Shane's saying is true. We do want people to live a happier, healthier lifestyle.
Yes.
Better food choices.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I agree. 100%. And then but at the same time, we got to work on their mental health.
But they all three coincide. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
All of us agree in the sense of it's your mind, body, and soul that all have to be in unison for an individual, or at least in my experience, for an individual to be living a life that would be of any sort of attraction. So like any person that I would admire usually has all three of those going dialed in.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
I agree.
And I think any change has to be for our own happiness,
Yes.
not to please somebody
No,
else.
no,
Because
totally.
I could lose all the weight because my wife wanted me to get skinnier, and
You're
I
gonna
could
feel
still
better.
be miserable.
Yeah, but
though.
you're gonna feel better. Bro,
I-
'cause here's the
You,
thing,
you might leave her though.
Here's the thing.
because people push me to get clean, and I've gotten clean before, and it
different.
just
It's a little different.
it is.
Because I was 40, 50 pounds overweight. My
Okay.
knees were sore. My back was a little sore.
Okay.
And I had trouble getting up off the bathroom on the toilet. I had issues
It's
that
not
made
black
my,
and white like
that
Exactly.
made my life uncomfortable. I just had those
I hear
issues.
that.
I was there.
yeah.
But that's why I really do think like every individual is going to be very different.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like your individual health, it depends on where that individual is at.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about a professional athlete. It depends on your age. All of the things go into that degree, but on I would say a scientific even reason, like where it has been proven, if you at least get outdoors and do at least like, you know, a goal of 10,000 steps or 30 minutes of just pure walking. I tell my parents, my dad is in terrible health. He has dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, every single week, you know, for the rest of his life. So, and I tell them, I just want you guys to walk. And we have this little thing in my parents' backyard, you know, he does like 80 from a basketball to the fence, but it's just getting some type of movement.
Yeah.
That's it, because it does something into your neuroplasticity in your
Dopamines,
brain.
yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by mind, body, soul. I'm not talking about you have to be this fucking shredded,
You don't have to be shredded
2%
like-
No,
body
no, no,
fat.
no.
What
Shredded
I'm
like
talking
Shane.
about is it gives you, what you're doing is you're creating these daily habits that require some self-discipline, and what that does to you subconsciously feeds your self-confidence, which then gives you self-esteem, which then
Yes.
makes you a motherfucking beast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how you're able to show up. Or like where one of the questions that I'm getting in my DMs is like, how are you so confident? And I'm like, whoa, never once did I ever think of myself as confident, because I'm a very insecure person who likes attention. How fucking polar opposite is that, right? Like that makes no sense. Like talk about a juxtaposition for sure. Someone's super insecure and then, you know, kind of feeds off and gets a little high off of attention, which is mind blowing to me. But the confidence comes from showing up for myself. The little things that I've created that make me feel better, that I know I'm going to reap the benefits, meaning like spending time with God, meditating, praying, journaling, all those little things. And if I'm able to do those and stack up a little bit of time, then all of a sudden, without me even realizing it, it gives yourself that self-confidence, and then it exudes. And then it's kind of just, you're able to walk with your shoulders back a little bit
Yes,
more. You know,
yes.
it gives you some at ease.
But if you're eating the wrong food and you're gaining 8 pounds a fucking month,
No, yeah.
you're not feeling good, bro. The food, even if you're thin and eating that shitty food,
You're really stuck on the health thing,
you
but
are
it all
not-
it coincides.
I'm gonna make
though,
Shane
you know?
feel really good right now. I eat like a 5-year-old. I eat chicken nuggets and frozen pizzas and fast food. So if you want to help me with how to eat properly,
Yes.
I please help me on how to eat
Yes,
properly.
I will help you.
Because I
I'm gonna
eat like
stick-
a
I
5-year-old.
gotta-
Could you
I'm
imagine
gonna
if
stick
we
in
what
my car.
what
Move-
if
move in, bro. Move in.
What
Let's
what
go.
if we took Mike's eating habits to the next level?
I eat
Right?
peanut butter and jelly
Holy
4 times
shit.
a day.
You know, Mike's already on fire.
Yes.
We changed his diet a little
Oh,
bit.
you
I
have
w-
my mind.
I will agree with Shane though. Like what the food is like
Chemicals. It's
it's-
like a drug. Food is a drug.
Yeah.
You know, sugar is a drug.
Yeah.
Sugar is another thing that we just let run wild.
Caffeine.
which
Yeah,
is a
all
whole
of it.
different topic though
Yeah,
of this.
totally. I
Like, but
agree.
I changed to all organic,
Okay.
all single ingredient food, and man. It has changed my life. It has changed my health. I no longer have the health problems that I was having at 50 years old.
He's younger. He's newer. He's a little more fresher in recovery. He's it's step by step, bro.
We'll get it. We'll get Mike.
Yeah,
Mike
I got this on
what-
your 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah,
Going on the Chad and Shane diet.
The
Yo,
Chad-
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
market
We're
it.
gonna
Let's
get you
out
the
there.
blue eggs from the farm that we
Yeah.
get our
Let's
eggs
go.
from.
I'm ready for it.
You know,
Yeah.
understand? When times are right, you'll get a juicer, start juicing in every
Let's
case.
Yep, we
juice it up.
we cold
You
juice.
know?
Yep, we
All right.
juice.
Yeah, bro.
Green juice every day.
I'm open-minded. Let's do it. If it's
Yeah.
gonna make me feel better and
Yeah.
think better and absorb and all that kind of stuff, 100%.
Yeah.
To piggyback on the self-confidence, I learned what self-confidence is. It's our reputation with ourselves.
Right.
So when I'm saying I'm going to do things and I don't do them, consciously I can manipulate myself to come up with an excuse on why I didn't do it. But subconsciously I know I gave up. So now I start to lower the standards as far as what I'm striving for. So what I realize is the more I say I can't do something, I actually then prove it to myself that I can't do it. So I get very confident in what I can't do. So now I don't do it no more. So when you said that, maybe it's our reputation with ourselves. So we have to. You don't want to do something, don't say you're going to do it to yourself. Like, wait till you're ready to do it.
Yeah. For sure.
That's another good mark right there. And we could name it reputation. I mean, that's a good one right there. That was nice.
Yeah, because the biggest relationship we have is with ourselves. I'm stuck with myself 24/7.
Yep.
I can never get away from me. So like
We could try.
Yeah, I've tried.
Yeah.
I have tried.
I bet.
This bitch will not leave me alone. And I always say, like, I wake up and I have that other side of me wanting to take me out every day. Doesn't matter how much time or how much sobriety I have, anything like that. It doesn't matter. It's just day one, you know. And I have to make sure that I'm diligent on it because she will take me out. That bitch is doing push-ups.
I'm
day
excited. I'm
long.
actually excited that my addiction is next to me for the rest of my life because it took me to the depths of darkness. Your demons are only demons until you release them. Then they grow wings and fly and become angels. Now I'm going to show my addiction. You took me there. Now watch where I take you with it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's just
Yeah,
all
motherfucker, you
perspective.
took me into the darkest depths of hell. I'm going to take
Yeah.
you to the highest peaks in heaven, motherfucker.
Yeah, and I'm
know?
going to use you to actually help other people get out. If you think about it, I believe that addicts are chosen. We're not forsaken, and this is why I believe it. If you think about it, if I'm God, who better than an addict to
Right.
pick to worship you?
Right.
Who better than an addict? We know how to bow
agree.
down to something.
Yeah.
We know how to give our power away to something. So maybe since the get-go, we were created for success, but the devil made us think that we were cursed by having us be with him, but we were just 00 agents.
Dude,
God was just throwing
I'm
us in the
with it.
darkness so we could see the
Yes.
path in the dark, so when we get to the light, we could find ourselves back in the darkness in the form of you, or you, or you, and then pull
like
you out. We're warriors. Warriors, spirituality to me is like, I'm praying because I don't want to go back to hell. Religious people pray because they don't want to go to hell. They're afraid to actually take that. So we're the warriors that been in hell,
Been in
that
battle.
pray that we don't want to go back, but God allows us to go back to bring more out. It's a blessing that I was an addict for 20 years. It's
like a college.
everything I've been through has been
Yeah.
a blessing.
Yeah.
Because once your eyes are revealed and that veil is pulled back, I'm looking at my active addiction and I'm seeing nothing but blessing after blessing. When I thought I was forsaken, when I thought God wasn't with me, when I thought I was cursed, I'm able to look back, I should have been dead there. That shouldn't have happened. Blessing. So he's always been with me. So now I don't have to be afraid of everything. And the Bible says 365 times, no coincidence, do not be afraid.
Yeah.
365 times.
That's every day. That's one for every day of the
Except
year.
for the leap year, which was this year.
That's the only day you need to be afraid is February 29th.
every 4 years, prepare yourself.
It's a one day. You get one fucking day to be afraid.
Stay the fuck home.
Seriously, I agree with you so much because if you really look at any person that is of success, you know, that we think of on famous or whatever, we've talked about it before, where it's like they were previous addicts. And now if you let us off our leashes and we're spun in the correct, my husband called me a tornado, as long as I'm like, you know, pointed in the right direction, I can light up a city or I can tear it down. So once you let the addict go, we're unstoppable.
You ever hear what Bill Gates said about addicts? He said if people ran their businesses like addicts run their addiction, they'll be very successful. Because of all the compromises and sacrifices we're willing to make for the drug. If people were willing to do that much for their business, they would be highly successful.
So true.
I agree. I want to ask you something. You're involved on a daily basis with tragedy,
Yeah.
with death,
Mm-hmm.
despair,
Mm-hmm.
mothers that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, the loss of a loved one, loss of a child. What do you tell them? How do you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you talk to them? How do you make them feel there's hope? I know it's God related, but
Yeah.
you know, Take me through that.
I basically let them know that no one's going to forget that their child existed. And that my recovery, the reason I won't pick up today is because you lost your child. A lot of times the best thing that you could say in that moment is just that try to get them to understand maybe a little bit of who I am as a person rather than want to talk about their kids. You know what I'm saying? I've been given the opportunity to have a lot of family members reach out and have the great honor of being able to be told by them, thank you for letting me know my child more. Because like you said, we should have a recovering out loud for the family members so they can understand addiction. My videos, by the grace of God, has allowed them to understand more. But at the end of the day, I just ask them what their child's name is and just know that's another name on the scroll of my heart, that when I feel like giving up, that name is going to be why I get up.
That's powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
That's good stuff.
That is.
That's good stuff. And I'll tell you what I want to do before you leave here. I want to make a commercial, Recover Out Loud for Parents.
Okay.
And I want to put a number down there, and I want to have these parents call in. If you're suffering, if you're a loved one, if you've lost a child, call us. We can help these people.
Yeah, 100%. I believe we can help everyone because of the struggle becomes admired when you overcome it.
Yes.
So because of Jesus Christ and God's graces, the last year and a half, I was the first addict to ever present at a DEA summit, Homeland Security, Customs and Border Control, CIA, HIDA, multiple friggin' letters of recognition from state centers. And all of that is because I was an addict of 20 years and I found a way to overcome it. So whatever pain you're going through, if you find a way to overcome it, you will be admired. You won't be judged on what you did while you were in that pain. You will actually get admired for overcoming it and what you're doing to actually sustain the life that you're living. So I think everybody with pain should reach out to the Hopeaholics.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
So do we. So do I. I love the Hopeaholics. I mean, the Hopeaholics is pretty fucking dope.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know?
I love it.
And where you guys come in such a short amount of time, it was just like, I remember looking and it was one and looking and you got this person and that person. And then it's like,
And then we fucking scored.
yeah.
We
Thanks,
scored
guys.
on the WWE fucking
I
superstar.
came in just as
Look
a
at
guest
this.
and
How
I
did
couldn't
you
leave.
guys meet?
So actually, my previous business partner is neighbors with, so shout out to Janet, is neighbors with Shane and his family. And
Okay.
so she reached out to me because she like knows myself and my husband is a tough one in the sense of
She's not just
no
showing up to a
bullshit.
podcast.
Yeah. And so she was like, hey, you know what? My neighbors they're really cool. And what her husband is doing is something, and she's known me for years. So she knows, that I work a program, and my dad is a Vietnam veteran, was in the Marines and stuff. So veterans are really important to me as well. And so she was like, they're really cool. I think you would really love what their message is. And you should go on their podcast. So I like tossed it around, and then she gave me Shane's number that we went back and forth. Finally, schedules aligned. My husband and I came out here. I was just supposed to be a guest. We all hit it off. And then my husband and then them two, they say that they fell in love with him, but they got stuck with me. And then they started talking, businesses. And this is something that I wrote down 10 years ago that I wanted to do. And then it just so happened to show up in
God's
such a
timing.
crazy...
We were on her vision.
He's never early and he's never late.
This is the first time I've ever been on somebody's vision board.
Yeah, bro. See him.
It wasn't the same as like Amber's vision board because she actually had a picture of Natalie on
Yeah,
her
which
vision
is
board.
pretty cool.
But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
But it's still kind of cool. Like basically, we were on her
we were.
vision
We're
notebook.
not a name or
Okay,
picture,
I did not
but
put.
we were.
God, you know that I didn't put Chad and Shane like literal names, but yeah, no, it really was. And then not only that, but what was really crazy about it is even if people go back to watch like my first episode with the guys, from right out the gate, like the moment that I walked in the door to the moment I sat down and us just like shooting the shit, it was just I'm the youngest of all boys, so it was just like I was with like my brothers,
it was a
talking
good time.
shit and just kind of like catching up. And it just flowed really, really easy. And then this is how I know God's showing up for me is because everything happens effortlessly. Like there's no, I'm not trying to, normally I'm trying to fit the puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Put the round one in the square hole.
Yeah, exactly. And it just kind of was meant to be. and then it just like all kind of works
flows.
out. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I've never been
So happy in all of her life.
I
I needed to finish that one off.
You gotta let him have
You know what I
that.
mean?
Let him have it.
Like,
That
they
was
do
good,
this-
bro.
Except for the day that she got married. Let's go all the way back there because Jonathan's way cooler than we are. But
But basically, you know,
I mean,
it
we're
just-
like, you know, comparable to the WWE. I mean, how dope is that?
Yeah.
I'm just putting I'm making myself way cooler than I am.
But it is. It just really like is so important to me, and it's like a tragedy brought us all together, but yet it's a beautiful thing out of such a tragic
Yeah.
loss. You know, where it's something good is going to come out of it in the sense of not only people are lives are being saved, but we actually have a solution, meaning like we have treatment centers for those people to actually come and get healthy and get well at, because that's where it started for me too. I mean, it took me Lord knows a while, but you don't have to stay in your pain. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to live like that. And I think that's what is so crazy, because for so long I lived in that like shame, and then now I'm like, holy crap, like I'm on a podcast having treatment centers. Now I'm like, anybody that's going to listen to me, I'm going to say, yes, I work a program.
There you go.
Like, being sober saved my life. God is everything. Like, it's so crazy how God works, because something that I used to live in darkness, now it's like shining.
The darkness and the light is the same thing. It's just your perception of it that
Totally.
what makes it what it is. My darkness illuminates my path. What I mean is my act of addiction is what keeps me in my recovery today. So often or not, we get into treatment and we still are prey to our addiction, yet we're winning when we made the choice to go to treatment. We need to start learning how to be predators in our recovery rather than be prey to our addiction while we're in recovery. Why are you afraid? You already won when you made the choice. You win in death. To live as Christ is to die as gain. We already won. We need to start walking in victory. Every day that we wake up, you already won. Walk into it. If you lose a battle, you win if you learn the lesson. School and life are two different things, right? School, you get the lesson and then the test. Study the lesson, pass the test, graduate. God loves us so much, he turned it backwards. First you get the test, then you get the lesson. Learn the lesson, pass the test. So either way, you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always I've heard you say many times on your Instagram page that the secret weapon against addiction is the recovering addict.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, I couldn't agree more. And it's so funny because it says something similar to that in the Narcotics Anonymous book. It says the greatest the greatest asset to an addict is another recovering
Yeah.
addict. And you know, I love that you say that, and I've heard you say it at fucking Quantico.
Oh yeah, I've been to
talking to
Quantico 3
FBI.
times. So
Oh
when
my
I
God,
do
so amazing.
when I do these impact meetings, it's not teaching them how to do their job. It's actually educating them who we are as people in recovery, because there's solutions found in our walk, because we are the demand. So you could go after the people bringing it in, but as long as there's still addicts on the street,
Something's
there will
coming.
always be a demand. They will always find a way to get it to us. So we could actually hit this from both angles. You stop it from coming in the country. Give us resources to help those in the country. So we take away the demand, even though the drug's coming in. You could have a pile of drugs right here, but if there's no addicts to use it, there's no value. So that's one of the things I do believe with a secret weapon. I believe that we are the solution because we are the demand.
So I'm curious, how do they respond to that?
They love it.
They love it.
They love it. Because I'm not going in there and blaming law enforcement for why things are where they are. One thing that our main goal is to not point fingers or be controversial. This is our lived experience. This is what we've learned. This is how we could help you. Call us if you need our help. Now they can't stop calling because they see you get more bees with honey. There's a lot of people out there. Listen, you could blame our government for a lot of things, but fighting is what they want, the other countries. Let's just put it to the side and find a solution. We need to save this generation that's coming behind us because they're being wiped out.
Wiped out.
Wiped out.
I mean, it's pretty insane to even think that the number one cause of death in this country, 18 to 45 years old, that's a fucking lot of people.
Yeah, and that's
the number
not
one
just
cause of
addicts.
death.
That's not just addicts. 18 to 49 is the whole thing. It's not just addicts. It's actually more than just
It
addicts
beats
now.
cancer. It beats
Everything.
heart disease,
Car accidents.
car accidents, suicide. What else?
I think you could actually add a few of them up and they still don't catch up.
Mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Tell
I'm
them.
on it.
Yeah.
Mental health is at an all-time fucking high.
Yeah?
We've accepted things today that we didn't accept 10, 15, 20 years ago. And this is confusing people. Even if you're not going through a change, and I'm not saying a change is right or wrong. If you're changing from this to that, that's fine. It's still a confusing thing, not only for the person going through it, but for the people dealing with it around them. Family members, fellow students, fellow human beings are confused by what's being accepted today in society. And it's creating
Mental health issues.
mental health issues, and people are looking for an escape.
I mean, any surprise God's been taken out of government,
Not
at all.
school,
Schools,
and
everything.
everything. It just keeps getting removed, and now we got AI, right? AI is going to play God for a lot of people. AI is going to be people's gods.
Yeah.
AI, what's the answer to this? Boom, that's going to play God. for them.
You just wait until you have that AI chip implanted in the side of your fucking neck.
Oh, wait,
that you can access it at will from your brain,
Yeah. What should I do here?
dude.
What's the chip telling me to do?
You got to go back and listen to one of Joe Rogan's podcasts. He has this guy, one of the head AI guys from Google on it. It's a little bit tough of a podcast to listen to because the guy's such a slow talker.
Oh.
And I'm a fast listener.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
my attention span is very short.
Yeah.
Very short.
Like this
Yeah,
big.
like a goldfish.
Yeah.
3
Same.
seconds.
But it's a
Yeah.
good podcast because it's like, holy shit, what they're talking about is going to happen in 5 years, 10
Yeah.
years, 15 years from now, and we'll all still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God willing. I'm not going to be like that old. 65 is
Yeah.
not very old
No.
in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what is rolling out, wait until Chat GPT 4.5 comes out because we're on 4.0 right now. It's pretty fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
4.5 is going to be.
They got this new one I saw yesterday. You could put in it, I want to open up a business. It's got to do with this. Please make me a complete website 4 pages long.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even like
Whoa.
messed
And that
with
shit
any
shoots
AI.
out a website
Oh, yeah.
4
People are like,
pages
you
long
should,
with
'cause
everything
like
you
to
need
write
derived
stuff.
from the internet.
I'm afraid.
It's
I'm afraid to
crazy.
use that thing because I'm gonna use it for
Yes.
everything. So I'm still old fashioned. I still write my group notes out.
Yeah, we-
all that
Me
kind of
too.
stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
me
still
too,
old
bro.
fashioned.
Yeah.
I've tried to kind of get a little bit more tech savvy.
AI is good for some stuff, but man, if you're going to actually come at people from the heart,
That's why we'll still win at the end,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Like we'll still win the ones that are speaking from the heart than the machines. Like we'll still be able to get people to listen more than the machine. The machine will brainwash. We will inspire and give life. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. So I'll be one of them underground people. Like in what was that movie with Sylvester Stallone, Judge Dredd or something like that?
Yeah.
I'll be one of those
Yeah.
people on the ground.
I mean, AI is scary because, the original Terminator, that's what it's all about.
Oh,
They
God.
created an AI that then started creating robots, and then it got smarter than us, and then
Yeah.
we couldn't shut it down.
It's like iRobot with Will Smith,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Wasn't that about the same thing? Like it gave it 3 fundamental rules, and then it realized that we actually are more harm to ourselves, so it started to want to
Yep.
wipe us out.
Yep. Exactly. We are harmful to ourselves.
We are the
And
most
a
vicious animals in the
And a
world.
Yeah, for
computer
sure.
can mathematically figure out that we are a harm to this world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we're here. That was the purpose after the apple.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge of good and evil. We're gonna destroy this place
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
the point is, who's willing to live a righteous life in a fallen world?
Amen.
If I had a kingdom like God, yeah, you got to earn. You got to earn it, right? I'm going to give you all the opportunities to do it. The first person I went to heaven was an outlaw. He was on the cross next to Jesus, and he's like, please don't forget me when you're going. He's like, no, I don't. You're coming with me. So if the first person that Jesus took was an outlaw, murdering person, like there's hope for me.
Oh, for sure.
There's hope for me. Like Jesus didn't come to serve the righteous, He didn't do none of it. He came to serve the sick. Church should look like a hospital.
Yeah.
Church should not look like Friday night at the club. with the jewelry and the fancy. And that's not church. Church, your homeless people should be sitting in the front.
Yeah.
People that are sick, that smell a certain way, should be sitting there. But no, they're kicking them out. So I believe the recovering out loud is kind of like, Jesus brought the church to the people. He said, I am the temple. This is my church. I believe we need to bring it to the people like Jesus brought the church to people and bring recovery to the people. Same concept.
Amen. I like it. Yeah. We're all in, dog.
Let's do it.
We are all in.
I was ready yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Good times.
Yeah. Feels like we're losing the fight, though.
Well,
You know what I'm
does it?
saying?
It does not to
I guess
me.
what I'm saying is this: is the torment, the wars, the world is kind of at a low right now. That's all I was saying.
Okay.
The universities, things are changing. Things are bad.
There's a war going on.
There's a war going on right now. There's a spiritual war going on right now.
War
That's all I'm
going
saying.
on.
Yeah.
And in the end, God has always
We
prevailed.
win.
Yeah, we win.
So, like, dude, we fucking already won because we chose the right side.
Yeah.
I mean,
And now
I
we're speaking out loud. That's the
I
point.
feel honored that God saved me to fight a war that might look like we're losing.
Yeah.
Right.
The devil's
It
real
looks
good.
like we're losing.
The devil's
does.
real good at
It
making
does.
us seem like we're at the bottom of the valley.
Yeah.
But in reality, we're 2 steps away from the mountaintop.
Bingo.
Even though it might look like we're losing,
Yeah.
I believe we're winning because every soul that comes over is another win for
Same.
us and a bigger loss for him because he doesn't want to lose anybody.
See,
So anyone I get to save, I beat Satan.
and every time,
Yeah,
it looks like we're losing, but it's always the darkest
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
dawn.
Yeah.
go.
And the times are always the toughest
Yeah.
right before greatness happens.
Yeah.
See, and that is something that, like, goes with the saying that I always say, don't leave, and I stole this from AA, don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happened. In everything that you do, business opportunities, your job, whatever it is, don't leave, don't quit. Like, I got no quit in me, none.
Neither.
And I have 23 years lived experience of God showing up for me over and over and over again. And I have proof today that he showed up for me. I had a lost check in the mail for over 30 days.
Did it show up?
It showed up today.
Nice.
Right when I needed it, right at the last hour. He shows up at the last hour, man, and that's what people don't realize. He's always there.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's that last hour that he shows up, and you got to have faith.
The testing of your faith strengthens it.
Yes.
So now the next thing that happens for you, you're going to have even more
Yep.
faith because the last one came. Oh, I know he's going to come through for me. Don't worry about it. Let me get back to life.
Yeah.
The testing
Because
of
we
your faith
spend a
strengthens
lot
it.
of time stressing
Oh, yeah.
about money, about time, about health, about all these stupid things that he continues to, if you just believe and you just have faith and you just hold on every single time.
Mm-hmm. We could have faith that something bad's going to happen. You could have faith that something good's
totally.
going to happen. We create the ball that drops by thinking the ball is going to drop because we think something's too good
Yeah.
to be true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I create the reality of that happening because now I'm walking on eggshells because I'm looking for, see, look, it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. So now my eyes are focused on that. So now I attract the ball to drop every single time.
Oh, for sure. Oh my
Every
God.
Everybody, and that is probably the most famous thing that people do on a daily basis, especially us addicts,
Yes.
man. I don't sit around and wait for the ball to drop or the shoe to drop or whatever the saying is. Don't sit around and wait for that. Fucking sit around or get into action and go create shit, because we were created in the image of God. And what did God do? He created us. He spoke us into existence. He spoke this world into. Go speak your life into existence. And that is what I preach.
Yep.
And that is what I'm about.
The word gives life.
Yeah. And since I never walked a traditional program at NA or AA, because of the created in God's image, me personally, in my recovery, I don't identify as an addict. God did not create an addict. I'm a child of God. So that actually covers everything. If you know anybody who's a child, that's addict, that's manipulated, that's
for sure.
by me labeling myself as Michael, hi, I'm an addict, or I'm an alcoholic. For me, it's like labeling, that's all I'm ever going to become. For me, in this recovery walk, the drugs and the alcohol were only indication of something that I could do that I thought I never could. My recovery has not been focused on just the abstinence of a substance. My recovery is based on me becoming a better version of my. So me keep saying it after a certain point. It's like I don't even count days. The reason I don't count days anymore is because I feel I'm still giving a power to my addiction by needing to count the days away from it. Like I still feel like it has that ball and chain, like I'm 90 days. And then how many of us don't come out and say we relapse because we don't want to start our days over? Sure. So we're actually putting ourselves in a position to actually get put in a box that our recovery is based on just a number of days, when in reality it's a one-day membership that you got to renew every day. So the record for staying clean is 24 hours. Not 10 years, not 40 years.
And it's the source of your power.
Yeah.
If you all got up, if anybody got up before 3 a.m. today, right now I probably, sitting at this table, have the most time.
No.
Yep, I woke up at 4. So if you're at 3, you got me.
I got up at 2:30.
4:30.
Shut the fuck up,
I
Shane.
got up at 2:30 to
But wait,
fucking
you
pee.
might go to sleep before us. So we can't, you can't say nothing yet.
No.
because You might go to
Right
sleep
now, I
before
have
it.
enough time.
Right now,
the
yes.
most time.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that I will end up with the most time, because
said.
tonight I am going to bed at probably 9, because we
By
won't
the
get
time we
home
get
till
back,
till 9. But then I'm gonna get up at 3.
Yeah.
6 hours is good. I prefer 7.
I haven't slept more than 4 hours in a single night in over 2 years.
Whoa.
The methadone is just deadly. I haven't. Every day I wake up with such bad anxiety. It's like I have 100 hands in my stomach and like that bottomless pit in my stomach. It takes me a half an hour of me telling myself, you are going to work. You're not calling out.
Yeah.
It takes a half an hour of me walking around the block to just ground before I could actually start reading the Bible. That was always the thing that took me back to like smoking weed and things of that nature, was to sleep. And then it was like the next thing. So this, I think, just right now is, I feel it's my spirit so excited that I'm up. Let's go make moves. I can't go back to sleep once I wake up, no matter how many, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours. So, but I'm not tired either. But maybe if I start eating healthier, maybe I'll start sleeping better. Maybe it's the food
It
I'm
might
putting.
be the food.
It might be the, my intestines. We need to
There is
talk.
some
I know
real
there is.
shit with gut
I
health,
need
man.
a whole
There is.
detox of my body
There
when
is.
it
I
comes
mean,
to the
Look,
toxins.
I wasn't busting Shane's balls at all in any way, shape, or form. I just know what it's like to be fat. You know what I'm saying? There is a lot that comes from living a healthy lifestyle and eating the proper nutrition. A lot.
I agree. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll teach you how to grow a beard. You teach me
Nice.
how to-
Yeah.
All right.
Shane, you ever thought about growing it out that long, or even half the length?
I gotta brush it.
You gotta
If I
blow
can get
dry it
another
and blush.
inch, don't mind.
There's a lot of work you got to do
Yeah.
now. There's a
lot
lot
of
of
work.
prep
Yeah, there's a
to
lot of
get
prep.
it to go
Yeah, I'm
here.
not that guy. It's not my thing.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit longer than I like my beard. I like just stubble, as you can see in
Yeah.
in that's my look.
The 5 o'clock shadow.
It's
More like
about
A little
7:30.
more.
Huh?
About a 3.
7:30.
7:30 shadow.
45 shadow.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. maybe.
Yeah.
Shadow. Yeah, that's more my look. What about you, Natalie? Pink hair?
Pink
Don't
hair.
care?
Yeah.
Fucking don't care.
I'm
at
like,
all?
I get laser on my face so that I don't have a 5 o'clock shadow. So,
Well, damn, Mike, this was
yeah, you're.
Yeah, it's always
one
incredible.
of the
Thank
top,
you.
top podcasts
Yeah.
of all
Yeah.
time.
It's
Appreciate that.
clearly continue doing what you're doing because God is working through you and you're
Yeah.
changing lives
Thank
and you're making people make a change in theirs. And I think that's what's the most important. And that's what is exciting for me, to meet people like yourself and feel very much like we're in this together.
Yeah.
We're God's warriors. We're out on the streets. We're boots on the ground. Like, and that's, Chad always says it too. It's like, especially I'm the type of person, if my chips are all in, there is no quit in me. Like, I am not stopping until we are conquering, and we are definitely on a mission over here where it's all about, because if knowledge is power, If people don't know, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only with fentanyl, but it's breaking the stigma. It's about making a change. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, how you were raised, how you were born. If you don't like your life and how you feel at this specific minute, you have the power to change.
Mm-hmm.
You have the power to change. You know, we all do. And it's a daily thing that we continuously have to put effort in, but it's possible. And that's what I think is like a beautiful thing. And that's why having podcasts and movements and meetings like yours that you have, it's every Saturday, right?
Every Saturday. Huntington Beach Pier.
Huntington Beach Pier. 1 o'clock
Is the outreach.
is the outreach. 3 o'clock is the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a
I
good
mean-
day.
I mean, yeah, dude. We're all
You
on a
both
mission.
had to pee during this podcast
know.
because of the.
Red Bull. Yeah, I mean,
Whoa, whoa! We don't drink that.
bleep
We're
that shit out. What
We
fucking
are storm. We are
Yeah.
rain. We are monster.
Yeah.
Holy
Monster
smokes.
Energy. Jesus Christ.
Oh my good
Fuck.
Lord!
Hey.
Whoa.
Monster
Holy
Energy,
jeez.
rain.
Wow.
I was
You didn't
drinking-
get
I
the memo,
was-
did
Yeah.
you?
Fuck
You
me.
didn't open that email yet?
Holy shit.
There goes my fucking sponsor.
Yeah,
There
you're
goes
done.
your opportunity.
You're done.
It's not
Dude,
live.
I
It ain't
It's not
happening.
live.
Yeah.
It's
I've
all right.
literally been trying to get a Monster Energy sponsorship
Well, there you go.
since Monster
Ruined.
came
Right
out.
up.
It was
Ain't
gone
happening.
before you got it.
Never supposed to happen.
It's fucked.
Yeah. But
Red
thank
Bull?
you for coming back.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
thanks,
me.
bro.
Yeah, look
Appreciate
forward
it.
to you.
Love
Yeah.
you, man.
Yeah, love you too,
Yeah,
man.
bro. It's awesome.